You think you're smart. You think you're working hard. But what if I told you it's all a lie? Hours wasted, energy drained, dreams slipping through your fingers. And the worst part? You don't even see it happening until it's too late. Alex sat at his desk with 3 heavy books, colorful pens, and a cup of coffee. His eyes were tired, but he whispered, "I will study hard today." Hours passed, but nothing stayed in his head. He felt trapped in an endless cycle. Every evening looked the same. He made long notes, underlined every line, and read the same chapter again and again. But when he tried to remember, his mind went blank. He felt stupid and weak. He hated that feeling deeply. His friends often teased him. "Alex, you spend all your time studying, but your grades are just okay. What are you doing wrong?" He laughed with them, but inside he felt broken. He wondered if something was wrong with his brain. Alex believed in the idea of hard work. Teachers told him, "Study more, practice more, sacrifice sleep." So he did. He stayed up late, read for hours, and carried books everywhere. But results did not match the effort. It was painful. One night, after another test full of mistakes, Alex lay on his bed staring at the ceiling. His heart felt heavy. He whispered softly, "Why do I always fail? What is wrong with me?" His voice was weak, but his question was powerful. He remembered his father's saying, "Hard work never fails." But Alex started to doubt. He worked harder than anyone else, but he still failed. Maybe, he thought, it's not about how much time you give. Maybe it's about how you use it. That thought scared him. If he was wrong all this time, then all his late nights were wasted. He felt angry at himself. He wanted to cry but couldn't. Instead, he sat silently, hoping for some answer, some small sign of hope. Days passed, but the question stayed in his mind. Every time he picked up his books, he felt the same doubt. Am I really learning, or just wasting my life? The question grew stronger, like a voice inside his head, refusing to stop. One afternoon, Alex watched his friend Maya. She studied less, relaxed more, and still scored higher. She read once, made short notes, and smiled during tests. Alex felt jealous, but also curious. What did she know that he didn't? Later, he asked her, "How do you do it? You study so little, but still succeed." Maya smiled and said, "I don't study less, Alex. I study smarter. The secret is not in hours, but in methods." Her words stayed in his mind all night. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He kept hearing the word smarter. What did it mean? Could it really change everything? Could he finally stop wasting time? Could he finally feel free? He closed his eyes and whispered, "I need this." And so the journey began. Not with success, not with confidence, but with one small seed of curiosity. A new path was opening for Alex. He didn't know yet, but he was about to learn something that would change his life forever. Alex woke up the next morning with the same heavy books on his desk. The pages looked familiar, but they also felt empty. He remembered Maya's words. "Study smarter." The phrase followed him like an echo in every step he took. At breakfast, his mother asked, "Did you study late again?" He just nodded. He didn't want to explain that long nights gave him nothing. He didn't want to admit that his brain felt like a full glass of water with no space left. In school, Alex watched his classmates. Some looked lazy, but still managed to pass. Others worked with energy, as if studying was simple. He wanted to understand their secret. He wanted to believe it was possible for him too. When the teacher explained a new lesson, Alex tried to focus. He wrote everything down, but his mind was already tired. Words turned into noise. He looked at Maya sitting 2 rows ahead. She listened, smiled, and wrote only a few lines. Why is she so calm, he thought. Why am I drowning while she is swimming easily? His pen pressed harder on the page, leaving angry marks. His frustration grew like fire. He wanted answers, but he didn't know where to look. After class, Alex finally asked, Maya, can you show me how you study? She smiled gently. Of course, but first you must promise to forget what you think you know. You must accept that hard work is not the same as smart work. Her words felt like a challenge. Alex wanted to defend himself. He wanted to say, I already know how to study. But deep inside, he knew it was a lie. He was tired of being stuck. So he nodded. Okay, teach me. That afternoon, they met in the library. Maya carried only one notebook and a pen. Alex arrived with a heavy backpack full of books and highlighters. Maya laughed softly. You don't need all that. We'll start simple. Just watch. She opened her notebook. Look, Alex. The brain is like a sponge. If you pour too much water, it overflows. That's what happens when you study all day without rest. You think you're learning, but most of it just slips away. Her words made sense, but Alex felt nervous. He asked, So what do I do instead? Maya leaned closer and whispered, You need to work with your brain, not against it. That means short sessions, active recall, and strong focus. Alex stared at her notebook. It was small, clear, and full of short questions instead of long notes. What is this? He asked. Maya smiled. This is the first step. Don't copy the book. Make the book copy itself into your memory. For the first time, Alex felt a spark of hope. Maybe there was a different way. Maybe he didn't have to suffer to succeed. He closed his heavy books and looked at Maya's small notebook. A quiet thought appeared. Maybe this could work. That evening, Alex sat at his desk again. But this time, he didn't open all his books. He remembered Maya's advice. He took one small chapter and decided to try her method. For the first time, he felt curious instead of tired. He read the page once slowly, then closed the book. His heart raced. He asked himself, what did I just read? At first, his mind went blank. He panicked. But then, slowly, small pieces of the answer returned. It felt strange but powerful. He realized something. When he closed the book, he forced his brain to search. It was uncomfortable, but it made him remember more. Maya called this active recall. He whispered the words like a secret spell. Active recall. This is new. The next day at school, Alex tested himself again. Instead of copying every word, he wrote short questions in his notebook. What is the definition? Why is it important? How does it work? The questions kept him awake and focused. During breaks, he tried to answer his own questions without looking at the book. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes he got it right. But every attempt felt like exercise for his brain. He started to see that learning was not just reading. At lunch, Maya asked, How was your first try? Alex smiled nervously. Hard, but different. I felt like I was fighting my brain, but also training it. Maya laughed. Exactly. Learning is not about comfort. It's about growth. For the first time, Alex didn't feel like a victim. He felt like a student in control. It was still hard, but it felt meaningful. He thought, maybe I am not broken. Maybe I just needed a new way. The idea filled him with hope. That night, he repeated the process. Read, close the book, recall. Sometimes he remembered well, sometimes poorly. But each time, he felt stronger. His desk was quieter, his notes shorter, and his mind a little sharper. After 1 week, something surprising happened. In class, when the teacher asked a question, Alex raised his hand. His voice shook, but he answered correctly. His classmates turned to him with surprise. Even the teacher smiled proudly. Inside, Alex felt like a door had opened. For years, he had been silent, hiding behind his notes. Now, for the first time, he spoke with confidence. The moment was small, but to him it felt like victory, like sunlight after rain. Walking home, he kept thinking about that moment. I spoke. I answered. I knew. The words echoed in his head. He wanted more of that feeling. He wanted to grow stronger, not just as a student, but as a person. The journey had only begun. He still had doubts, still had fears. But now he had a tool, a key, a spark. The idea of studying smarter was no longer just Maya's secret. It was becoming his own, and it changed everything. The next week was a battle. Alex wanted to change, but his old habits kept pulling him back. He still felt the urge to highlight every line, to rewrite whole pages, to stay up late with his heavy books. Old habits are hard to kill. One evening, he found himself back in the same cycle. His desk was full of notes, but his mind was empty. He slammed his pen down and whispered angrily, "Why can't I stop doing this?" His frustration felt like a heavy stone in his chest. The next day, Maya noticed his tired face. "You tried to study the old way again, didn't you?" Alex looked down and nodded. She smiled gently. "It's normal. Your brain loves routine, even if the routine is useless. Change takes time." Her words gave him relief. He realized he wasn't weak, just human. But he also knew he had to fight harder. If he wanted freedom, he had to escape the comfort of bad habits. He had to choose discomfort now for growth later. That evening, he tried something new. He set a timer for 25 minutes and promised himself, only one task, only one focus. The ticking clock kept him awake. For the first time, he finished a chapter without wandering thoughts. When the timer rang, he stood up and took a 5-minute break. He stretched, drank water, and walked around. It felt strange, almost wrong to stop. But when he returned, he was fresh again. He realized short, focused beats long suffering. The next few days, he repeated the process. Study for 25 minutes, rest for 5. Slowly, it became easier. His concentration improved. His notes became sharper. He even started to enjoy the rhythm. It felt like music for his mind. One night, his younger brother entered the room and laughed. "You're taking breaks while studying? That's lazy." Alex smiled for the first time and replied, "No, this is smart. Watch me prove it." Deep inside, he knew he was right. In class, his answers grew faster. When the teacher asked questions, Alex remembered details without searching his notes. His confidence grew. Some classmates looked surprised, others curious. For Alex, it felt like climbing out of a dark hole. But he also faced doubt. At night, his mind whispered, "What if this only works for now? What if you fail again?" Fear returned like a shadow. Yet, instead of giving up, he decided to keep testing, to keep fighting. Maya encouraged him. "Every new habit feels weak in the beginning. Like a seed, it needs water and patience. Don't give up. Let it grow." Her words stayed in his heart. He wanted to believe in that small seed inside him. And so Alex continued. He was not perfect, not yet. But he was changing. Slowly, the old Alex who drowned in books was disappearing. A new Alex was being born, one who studied less, but learned more. The journey was truly beginning. A new test was coming. For most students, it was just another exam. But for Alex, it felt like a chance to see if his new methods worked. His stomach was tight with fear, but also with hope. This was his moment of truth. The night before the test, he didn't stay up late. Instead, he reviewed his short notes, asked himself questions, and stopped when he grew tired. He whispered, "Trust the process." For the first time, he went to bed before midnight. That morning, the classroom buzzed with nervous energy. Students flipped through pages, whispered answers, and bit their nails. Alex sat quietly with his pen ready. His heart raced, but his mind felt clearer than before. He repeated, "I can do this." The teacher placed the paper on his desk. Alex took a deep breath and began. The first question looked familiar. He closed his eyes and remembered his notebook. The answer came like a friend walking into the room. He smiled and wrote. As he moved through the questions, something strange happened. He didn't need to search his memory too hard. The answers appeared faster, clearer. His practice of recall had trained his brain to bring knowledge forward with ease. Halfway through, fear tried to return. His hands shook, and doubt whispered, "What if you forget?" But Alex pushed the thought aside. He paused, closed his eyes for a moment, and let the silence guide him back. Then he wrote again. When the bell rang, students groaned, many still unfinished. But Alex sat back with a quiet smile. He wasn't perfect, but he was ready to accept the result. For once, he felt like he had fought with strength, not with fear. The next day, the teacher walked into class with papers in her hand. The room fell silent. One by one, she called names and handed out grades. Alex's heart pounded as if every beat shook the desk. Finally, she called, "Alex." He took the paper with trembling fingers. His eyes widened. A high score, higher than ever before. He blinked, unable to believe it. He had studied less, but achieved more. His heart filled with relief and joy. Maya leaned over with a proud smile. "See? Smarter, not harder." Alex couldn't hold back his grin. For the first time in years, he felt free from the prison of endless study hours. His hard work finally had meaning. But deep inside, he knew this was just the beginning. One test was not the final victory. Life had more challenges ahead. He promised himself, "I will keep going. I will master this. I will not fall back into old ways." That day, Alex walked home with light steps. The streets looked brighter, the sky wider. He realized something powerful. Studying smarter wasn't just about grades. It was about life itself, learning how to use time, energy, and focus wisely. After his success in the test, Alex felt something new inside him. It was not just pride. It was energy, a quiet fire that whispered, "You can do more." For the first time, he wanted to study not because of fear, but because of hope. He noticed small changes in his daily life. When he opened his books, he no longer felt the same heavy pressure. Instead, he saw a challenge, like a puzzle to solve. His study desk no longer felt like a prison, but like a workshop. At school, his friends noticed too. "Alex, you look different," one said. Another added, "You don't look stressed anymore. What happened?" Alex smiled and replied simply, "I changed how I study." They laughed, but they were curious. Maya was proud. "You see," she told him, "knowledge is not just about information. It's about how you treat your mind. You trained your brain like a muscle. That's why you feel stronger now." Her words made Alex feel understood. But new challenges came quickly. More subjects, more homework, more pressure. The old Alex would have panicked, stayed up late, and drowned in endless notes. The new Alex took a deep breath and planned small steps instead of big piles. He made a list each morning. 3 main tasks, no more. This kept him focused and prevented overwhelm. Every time he finished a task, he crossed it off. The small victory gave him energy to continue. Success created momentum. Still, there were days of doubt. Sometimes he felt lazy, sometimes distracted. Sometimes he wanted to return to old habits. But each time, he remembered his promise. No going back. Even one smarter choice a day was better than none. One evening, he tried something new. He explained a topic out loud as if teaching someone else. At first, it felt silly. But soon, he realized that teaching forced him to understand deeply. His memory grew stronger. His confidence grew too. He practiced this with his younger brother. "Let me explain this lesson," he said. His brother laughed. "I don't care about your boring subject." But Alex continued anyway. To his surprise, the words came easily, and he remembered everything. This new method gave him joy. For years, studying had only been pain. Now it became something creative. He was no longer just memorizing. He was learning, connecting, and speaking with confidence. His identity as a student began to change. Maya noticed and said, "See, you're not just studying smarter. You're becoming smarter. That's the real gift." Alex felt proud, but also humbled. He understood that this was not magic. It was patience, practice, and faith in the process. Walking home that night, he looked up at the sky. The stars reminded him of endless possibilities. He whispered, "I can do this. I can learn, I can grow, I can change." For the first time in his life, he believed it fully. With new confidence, Alex thought the hardest part was over. But soon he discovered another enemy. It wasn't the books. It wasn't the lessons. It was distraction. His phone buzzed, his mind wandered, and his focus began to slip again. One evening, he promised himself to study for 30 minutes. After 10 minutes, his phone lit up with a message. Just a quick check, he thought. But that quick check turned into half an hour of scrolling. His book sat untouched. He felt guilty. "Why do I keep doing this?" he whispered. His heart sank as he realized how many hours he had lost to small distractions. It wasn't laziness. It was habit. And this habit was stealing his future silently. The next day, Maya noticed his tired face. "You didn't study, did you?" Alex sighed. "I tried, but my phone destroyed me." Maya laughed softly. "Then don't fight it while it's in your hand. Put it away. Make your environment stronger than your will." That night, Alex placed his phone in another room before studying. At first, it felt impossible. He kept reaching for it, only to find empty air. But slowly, his brain calmed down. The silence felt strange, but also peaceful. After 25 minutes, he realized he had completed more than in the last 2 hours the day before. His eyes widened. "It works," he whispered. The secret was not to fight distraction, but to remove it. His study time became sacred. The next days, he built a routine. Phone away, timer on, one task at a time. His concentration grew deeper. He felt like a warrior entering battle, with no weapons except his mind and his notebook. The victories grew larger each day, but distraction came in other forms too. Friends invited him to hang out when he had work to do. His mind whispered, "You can study later." It was tempting, but he remembered Maya's warning. Later often means never. He chose wisely. Not always, though. Sometimes he failed, choosing comfort over growth. But instead of falling back into guilt, he forgave himself and returned stronger the next day. This was a new habit too, learning how to restart without shame. He realized that studying smarter wasn't about being perfect. It was about choosing progress again and again, even after failure. Each time he came back, his will grew stronger. His identity as a disciplined learner slowly took root. Maya smiled when she saw his progress. "You're not just avoiding distraction. You're learning focus. Focus is a superpower, Alex. Few people have it. But once you do, everything becomes easier. Study, work, even life. That night, Alex sat by the window, thinking about her words. Focus is a superpower. He smiled quietly and whispered, "Then I will be a superhero." For the first time, distraction no longer felt like a curse. It felt like a challenge he could win. Weeks passed, and Alex's study methods grew stronger. But one problem remained. He could remember things for a test, but after a few weeks, the knowledge started to fade. He felt frustrated. "Why can't I keep it in my head?" Maya explained, "That's normal. The brain forgets quickly if you don't review. Memory is like a path in the forest. If you don't walk it often, the grass covers it. Review is walking the path again until it becomes clear." Her words made Alex think deeply. For years, he had only learned for the moment. He had never cared about the long term. But now he realized real learning meant keeping knowledge alive, not just using it once and letting it die. That evening, Alex tried a new system. Instead of reading everything again, he reviewed small pieces each day. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. He was surprised to see how quickly old lessons returned to his mind. He called it little steps. Each day, he built memory by adding small reviews. Instead of drowning in pages before a test, he touched his knowledge often. It felt easier, lighter, and more natural than cramming everything at once. At first, it was boring. He wanted excitement, not repetition. But Maya reminded him, repetition is the mother of learning. It feels simple, but it makes you strong. Alex decided to trust her. Slowly, the results began to show. During class, when the teacher mentioned old topics, Alex felt proud. While others struggled to remember, the answers came quickly to him. He realized the reviews had built stronger connections in his brain. It was like planting roots. One day, a classmate whispered, "How do you remember everything? Do you study all night?" Alex smiled quietly. He didn't want to brag, but inside he felt proud. He was no longer drowning. He was swimming with ease. The small reviews gave him freedom. Instead of panic before exams, he felt calm. Instead of stress, he felt prepared. He whispered to himself, "Knowledge is not a visitor anymore. It lives here now." The thought filled him with joy. He shared this with his younger brother. "Don't just read once," Alex said. "Review again tomorrow, then later, then next week. Make the knowledge your friend." His brother rolled his eyes, but Alex laughed. "One day you'll see." Reviewing didn't make Alex perfect. Sometimes he forgot, sometimes he skipped. But he learned that consistency mattered more than perfection. Even small reviews each day were enough to keep the fire of knowledge alive. As he walked home one evening, he thought about his journey. From lost and tired to confident and calm, all because of small changes. He whispered, "Smarter, not harder. That's the way." His eyes sparkled with belief in his new path. Even with his new progress, Alex soon faced another problem. A difficult subject appeared, one he had always hated. The pages looked dark and heavy, and every word felt impossible to understand. His confidence began to break again. He sat at his desk for an hour, staring at the same line, unable to move forward. The old voice returned, whispering, "See? You're not smart. You just got lucky last time." His chest grew tight with frustration. He wanted to quit. Maya noticed his silence at school. "What's wrong?" she asked. Alex sighed. "This subject is too hard. I'll never understand it." Maya shook her head gently. "It's not the subject. It's your fear. Fear makes everything look bigger than it is." Her words made him pause. Could fear really be the problem? He thought back to his past failures. Many times, he had given up before even trying. Maybe it wasn't that he couldn't learn. Maybe he had never truly faced the fight. That evening, he tried something new. Instead of reading the whole chapter, he broke it into small parts. Just one page, one idea, one question. Slowly, the mountain felt less like a monster and more like a series of small steps. It wasn't easy. His brain resisted, screaming, "This is too much." But each time he finished one page, he felt a spark of victory. He whispered, "I can't win the war today, but I can win this battle." And battle by battle, he moved forward. The next week, during class, the teacher asked a question from that same subject. Alex froze at first, but then, slowly, the answer came. His voice was shaky, but correct. His classmates turned in surprise. Inside, he felt like a warrior. After class, Maya smiled. "See? You broke the wall. You didn't avoid it. You climbed it step by step. That's how smart study works." Alex smiled back. For the first time, he felt stronger than his fear. He had proven himself wrong. But he also learned a deeper lesson. Smart study was not about easy subjects or quick results. It was about persistence, patience, and courage. The brain was not the only thing to train. The heart had to be trained too. That night, Alex sat with his notebook and whispered, "Fear is my teacher." It was a strange thought, but it gave him strength. Each hard subject was not a punishment, but a chance to grow stronger. His mindset was changing. He still struggled, still failed sometimes. But now he didn't see failure as the end. He saw it as a step. Every mistake was a sign that he was learning. Every doubt was a chance to build courage. He was slowly becoming unshakable. Walking home under the evening sky, he felt the cool wind on his face. He smiled quietly and whispered, "I'm not afraid anymore." The road still looked long, but now it felt possible. Step by step, he was learning to trust the journey. As weeks passed, Alex grew stronger in his methods. But something new began to happen. His classmates noticed his calmness and better results. They started whispering, "What changed? How does he do it?" Curiosity filled the air around him. One afternoon, a friend approached. "Alex, you don't look stressed anymore, but your grades are better. What's your trick?" Alex laughed softly. "No trick, just smarter studying." His friend frowned. "Smarter? What do you mean?" At first, Alex hesitated. For years, he had been the weak one. Now he was the strong one. Part of him wanted to keep the secret, but another part whispered, "Knowledge grows when shared." He took a breath and decided to explain. He gathered 3 classmates after school and showed them his notebook. Instead of long pages, it had short questions, diagrams, and simple ideas. They stared in surprise. "That's it? No long notes?" Alex smiled. "No, just active recall." They listened carefully as he explained. "Don't just read. Close the book and ask yourself. Review often, not just before tests. Study in small sessions with full focus. Remove distractions. It's not about hours. It's about strategy." His friends were shocked. "But teachers never told us this," one said. Alex nodded. "I know. I wasted years too. But now I see. It's not about how much you study. It's about how you use your time and energy." Over the next week, his friends tried his methods. Some struggled, some succeeded. But all of them admitted it felt different. "It's harder at first," one said, "but it really works." Their eyes shone with new hope. Maya smiled when she heard about it. "So, you're teaching now?" she teased. Alex shrugged. "I guess. I just don't want others to suffer like I did. If I can change, maybe they can too." His words felt honest and strong. Something shifted in Alex that day. He realized studying smarter was not only for himself. It was a gift he could share. Teaching made him understand even more deeply. His knowledge grew clearer each time he explained it to others. One afternoon, while helping a classmate, he felt a strange joy. It was different from getting a high grade. It was the joy of lifting someone else. He realized that real learning was not only about success, but also about giving. The old Alex had studied alone in silence, drowning in books. The new Alex studied with others, shared ideas, and built strength together. He saw that learning was not a lonely road. It could be a path of connection. As he walked home, he thought about his journey, from lost and tired to strong and helpful. He smiled and whispered, "This is just the beginning. If I can change, anyone can." The sunset painted the sky, and Alex felt unstoppable. Just when Alex felt confident, life tested him again. The final exams were announced. They were bigger, harder, and more important than anything before. For many students, it was just routine. For Alex, it felt like a storm rising on the horizon. Old fears began to whisper again. "This is too big. You can't handle it. You'll fall back to failure." He felt his chest tighten, his palms sweat. For a moment, he almost believed the lies of his old self. That night, he stared at the huge stack of books. The mountain looked impossible. He wanted to return to old habits, long nights, endless notes, blind memorization. But then he stopped. He whispered, "No, that's not me anymore." Instead, he opened his notebook and began breaking the subjects into smaller steps. One page, one question, one review at a time. The storm still felt strong, but now he had tools. The fear was there, but so was his new strength. Maya noticed his silence and said, "Remember, the storm is real, but so is your preparation. Don't measure the mountain. Measure the step you're on." Her words sank into him like anchors, keeping him steady in the wind of fear. The days before exams were intense. Students around him panicked, running between books and notes. Alex stayed calm, following his routine. 25 minutes of focus, 5 minutes of rest, short reviews, clear questions. It became his rhythm. Still, doubt returned at night. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if his new methods would survive the real test. But each time, he reminded himself of his past victories. "I was lost before. Now I am stronger." During group study, his classmates argued and shouted answers. Alex stayed quiet, then explained the concepts calmly. The room went silent. They listened. He realized he had become the one people trusted for clarity. It felt powerful and strange. The night before the exam, he closed his books early. His friends laughed. "Are you crazy? We're still studying." Alex smiled. "I've already walked this path many times. Now I just need rest." Inside, he felt nervous but also ready. On the morning of the exam, the storm was still there. His heart raced, but his mind was steady. He whispered to himself, "Fear doesn't control me. I control fear." With deep breaths, he entered the classroom like a soldier entering battle. The paper landed on his desk. His hands shook, but when he saw the first question, his training took over. Recall, review, focus. Each answer came like water flowing from a strong river. He was not perfect, but he was prepared. As the bell rang, Alex put down his pen with a calm smile. He didn't know the result yet, but he knew something more important. He had faced the storm and stood tall. That was his real victory, greater than any grade. The results arrived a week later. Students gathered nervously around the notice board. Whispers filled the air. Some faces lit up with joy. Others fell into disappointment. Alex's heart pounded as he searched for his name among the long list. When he finally saw it, his eyes widened. His grades were higher than ever before. Not perfect, but strong, steady, and far above what he once thought possible. He stood there frozen, hardly believing what the paper was telling him. Maya touched his shoulder. See? You trusted the process. Now look at you. Alex turned with a smile, his eyes shining. It worked. It really worked. For the first time, he felt not just smart, but powerful, like he had found his own secret. Other classmates looked at him with curiosity. Some whispered, "How did he do it?" Others asked directly, "What's your secret?" Alex smiled. He was no longer ashamed of his journey. He proudly replied, "Smarter, not harder. That's the way." Inside, Alex knew the real victory wasn't the grade. It was the change within. He was no longer the boy who stayed up late, drowning in endless notes. He had become someone different, calm, focused, and in control of his own mind. At home, his parents noticed the difference too. His father said, "You finally look happy when you study." His mother added, "And you actually sleep on time now." Alex laughed, realizing that his growth was not just about school, but life itself. He remembered the nights when he felt hopeless, staring at the ceiling, believing he was broken. Now, standing tall with results in his hand, he realized he was never broken. He had only been using the wrong map. Now he had found the right one. Maya smiled proudly. "You're proof that change is possible. You didn't become smarter overnight. You just learned to work with your brain, not against it." Her words sank deep. Alex felt grateful for her guidance and for his own courage. Later, as he walked home, the air felt fresh, the world brighter. He thought, "This is just the beginning. If I can change how I study, maybe I can change anything." His steps were lighter, filled with a new kind of strength. He realized something bigger too. Studying smarter wasn't only about school. It was about how to live, how to use time, energy, and focus in the right way. It was a skill for life, not just for exams. That evening, he sat by the window, watching the sunset. The colors filled the sky with hope. He whispered softly, "This is my victory. Not on paper, but in me. I am free." His heart was calm, his mind clear, his spirit alive. Alex's journey was far from over. More challenges would come, more tests, more doubts. But he now carried a shield of wisdom and a sword of focus. He was no longer afraid. Whatever came next, he was ready. After his victory in exams, Alex noticed another change. Studying smarter was not just helping in school. It was shaping his whole life. He managed his time better, felt calmer, and even spoke with more confidence around others. One day, his teacher asked him to help younger students who were struggling. At first, Alex hesitated. "Me? A tutor?" The memory of his old self still haunted him. But then he smiled. "Why not? If I can change, maybe I can guide them too." In the small classroom, a few students sat nervously. They reminded him of his past, tired eyes, heavy notes, endless frustration. He looked at them and said, "I was just like you. I thought I was failing because I wasn't smart. But I was wrong." He opened his notebook and showed them the methods he had learned. Short questions, active recall, review, focus, breaks. The students listened with wide eyes. One whispered, "Nobody ever told us this before." Alex smiled. "Neither did anyone tell me." As he taught them, something powerful happened. His own knowledge grew sharper. Every time he explained, the lessons became clearer. Teaching wasn't just helping them, it was strengthening him. His confidence grew with each word. After class, one student ran to him. "Thank you, Alex. I feel like I can finally do this." The boy's eyes were full of hope. Alex felt his chest warm with pride. This was bigger than grades. This was impact. At home, he told Maya about it. She laughed gently. You're turning into a leader. That's what happens when you master yourself. You naturally guide others. Alex thought about it and realized she was right. Leadership wasn't about power. It was about example. He began to see that studying smarter was a philosophy, not just a technique. It meant asking, what's the best way? In every situation. He applied it to chores, to conversations, even to planning his future. Life itself became his classroom. One evening, while helping his younger brother, Alex realized something profound. This is not about being the best student. It's about becoming the best version of me. His brother rolled his eyes, but Alex laughed. Deep inside, he knew it was true. He thought back to the dark nights when he almost gave up. Now, standing here with strength, he felt grateful for the struggle. Without failure, he would never have searched for a better way. The pain had been his greatest teacher. Maya reminded him, your story proves that smart work is freedom. Remember this, you are not just learning for yourself. You're inspiring others. Alex nodded. For the first time, he felt his life had a purpose beyond his own success. Walking home under the streetlights, he whispered, smarter, not harder. The words no longer felt like advice. They felt like a promise. His journey was bigger now, reaching beyond himself. He was ready to carry it forward into the future. As months passed, Alex barely recognized the person he used to be. The boy who once drowned in endless books and self-doubt had grown into someone calm, confident, and focused. His transformation was visible to everyone around him. Teachers began to trust him more. One day, a teacher said, Alex, can you explain this concept to the class? His heart jumped, but he stood up. The old Alex would have hidden, but the new Alex spoke clearly. The class listened in silence. Afterwards, his classmates clapped. Alex felt his cheeks warm, but deep inside, he felt proud. He had not only learned the subject, he had learned how to communicate it. He realized that true learning was about sharing, not just keeping. Outside the classroom, his life improved too. He had more time to rest, to spend with family, and to enjoy small moments. He was no longer chained to his desk. Freedom came from balance, and balance came from smarter choices. Maya noticed the change and said, you see, Alex? You didn't just improve your grades. You improved your life. That's what real learning does. Her words filled him with gratitude. He finally understood what she had given him. But he also realized something deeper. He couldn't always depend on Maya. The journey was now his own. She had shown him the door, but he had chosen to walk through it. That choice had made him who he was becoming. One evening, Alex looked into the mirror. For the first time, he saw not a tired, hopeless student, but a young man full of strength. He whispered to his reflection, I can face anything. Not because it's easy, but because I know how. The next day, a younger student approached him. Alex, can you help me? I feel lost. Alex looked at him and saw himself from the past. He smiled and said, of course. Sit down. Let me show you how to study smarter. As he explained, he realized this was the real victory. Not just surviving exams, but guiding others through the same pain he once felt. His transformation was complete when he became a light for someone else's darkness. At night, lying in bed, he thought about his journey. From fear to confidence, from failure to growth. Every struggle had shaped him. Every mistake had taught him. Every small step had led him to this transformation. He whispered softly, smarter, not harder. It was no longer just a study method. It had become his life motto, his guiding compass. Whenever challenges would come, he knew these words would lead him through. The story wasn't ending. It was expanding. Alex was no longer just a student. He was becoming something greater, a learner for life, a guide for others, and proof that change is possible when you believe in smarter paths. The school year ended, and Alex looked back on his journey. He remembered the nights of hopelessness, the endless notes, and the tears of failure. Now he stood taller, with new habits, new strength, and a clear vision of who he wanted to be. On the last day, Maya smiled at him. "You've come so far, Alex. You don't need me anymore." He laughed. "I'll always need guidance. But now I know how to guide myself." She nodded proudly. He had truly become his own compass. As he walked through the empty hallways, memories flooded his mind. The boy who once whispered, "What is wrong with me?" was gone. In his place was someone who whispered, "I can do this." That shift was his greatest victory. His classmates noticed too. They no longer teased him. Instead, they asked for advice, respected his discipline, and admired his calmness. Alex had not only changed his own life, he had inspired others to believe in change too. At home, his parents saw the difference. "You look happier," his mother said. His father added, "and wiser." Alex smiled. It wasn't just about grades anymore. It was about balance, clarity, and freedom. He felt whole for the first time. He realized that studying smarter was only the beginning. Life itself was full of tests, tests of patience, courage, and focus. The same principles applied everywhere. Plan small, focus deeply, review often, and never let fear win. One evening, Alex sat by the window, watching the stars. He whispered softly, "This journey is not only mine. It belongs to anyone who dares to change." His heart was full of gratitude, not just for Maya, but for his own persistence. He knew there would be more storms, more walls, more distractions. But he was ready. He had built a foundation strong enough to face anything. Smart habits had become part of him, guiding him like a compass through the unknown. He closed his eyes and smiled. "Smarter, not harder," he repeated one last time. It was no longer just a phrase. It was a way of living, a promise to himself, and a gift he wanted to share with the world. And now, this story comes to you. If you've ever felt lost like Alex, if you've ever drowned in books and doubt, remember his journey. Remember that it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter, step by step. Your life, like Alex's, can change. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Small steps, short reviews, strong focus. These are the tools. And with them, you can face any challenge, inside the classroom and beyond. So if this story touched you, don't let it end here. Take one step today. Try one smart method. Believe in change. And if you want more stories and lessons like this, subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's grow smarter together.